Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel Maths with the Sairam sir. Today we are going to start one of the most important topics in mathematics, that is about the geometry. And before learning about triangles and circle constructions like coordinate geometry and this all, we must understand the fundamental concepts of this geometry clearly. So in this video, we are going to learn about all the basics which is related to geometry like points, line segments, ray, line, plane, plane figures, and types of angles, pair of angles, and complementary angles, supplementary angles, and these all basics, whatever basics which you have required to solve the geometry problems. You are going to learn in this video, and this video is useful for the beginners and TET and competitive exams aspirants, and even for school students also it is useful. And I will explain every concept with a neat diagram and simple examples so that you can understand geometry from the basics of itself. So watch this video completely without skipping because every concept is connected to the next one. If you find this class is useful, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel. Now let us start our geometry basics classes. What is about to point? Point means what? A fine dot mark with a sharp edge pencil. This represents a point. Okay, so with a sharp edge pencil, if you take up one dot, this dot is about the point. And why we are using point? To locate exact position of an object, we are using the points. Just like in the Google Maps, so to locate exact one particular point, then we are using a point like this. Okay, and it has a no length. It has a no length and breadth and thickness. It has no length, breadth and thickness. Okay, so points are denoted by capital letters like A, B, C, like this. With the help of these capital letters, we are using this. We are representing these points, and the point has no dimension and which has no thickness or size. Generally, we should keep a dot as thin as possible to represent the point. Okay, this is about point. Okay, next concept, line segment. The straight path which is connecting the 2 points is called the line segment. Let's A and B are 2 points in the plane. Then the shortest path from the A to B is called the line segment. The line segment AB is same as the line segment BA. Okay, it is denoted by AB bar like this. Let us take 2 points, point A and this is of point B. Then there are many ways to reach from A to B. Okay, I can reach to A to B in this manner, or else I can go from this here. Likewise, we have many ways to reach from A to B. But the shortest path between A to B is called the line segment AB. Okay, and this line segment AB is represented by AB bar over this, and you should keep that there is no arrow marks for this. Okay, and AB bar. Okay, this is line segment AB, and this is also can be written as BA line segment. Both are same. AB line segment is equals to BA line segments. Both are equal. Okay. So what is the definition of line segment? The shortest part between the 2 points in the plane is called the line segment, and this line segment is represented by the those end points. Okay. The one important note which is line segment. A line segment contains infinite number of points. Okay, a line segment consisting of infinite number of points it has. Okay, so is it correct? How many points are there here on this line segment AB? We have infinitely many points are. Okay, so let us see this next concept. Ray. A line segment extends endlessly in the one direction is called the ray. Just now we have discussed about line segment. What we have learned, line segment means what? We learned that the shortest path between the 2 points in the plane is called the line segment. If you take this point A and point B, the line segment which connects this is known as the shortest path between A and B. And this line segment, if a line segment extends endlessly in one direction, then this is called as an say. Once observe this line segment, initial point is 4 and it is passing through the A, means this is represented by OA. likewise. Okay, it is represented by OA ray. Okay, and here you need to notice that there is a one head arrow mark. Okay, for one side. OA ray means whose initial point is O and extending towards the A, and OA ray which is not equals to AO ray. AO ray in the sense means what? Whose initial point is A and extending towards the O. Extending towards the O. So this is about the OA ray. Both are not the center. Means if we cannot interchange the letters by writing a ray. Next, there is an important note which is related to a ray has a one end point. A ray AB has a one end point, that is namely as a A, and it is called as an initial point. If just now discussed about a AB line segment, if a line segment AB extends endlessly in one direction, then that is called as an AB ray. And A in this AB ray, we have only one end point, that is A, and this end point is also called as an initial point. Clearly, a ray has a no definite length. Ray has a no definite length, and usually AB ray AB is not the same as an BA ray. BA ray in sense what? Okay, whose initial point is B and extends endlessly in the direction from B to A. Just now I explained to you. Okay, this is about a ray. And ray also consisting of infinitely many points. One more important concept which is about a ray. What is that? Can we draw a ray on a paper? Means you all might be supposed to say as a yes, but it is wrong. We cannot draw the ray. Ray means what? That should be extends endlessly, na? But we are representing it a ray. It is just a representation. Just if you see this ray, OA ray that we are saying, but it is not extending, it is stopping up to there. Okay, so, but if it extends endlessly, then it becomes a ray. Okay, so OA ray is a just a representation only. We cannot draw the ray on a paper, just we can represent it. Okay, so we cannot draw the complete picture of a ray on a paper, that you need to notice. And next and for most important concept about a line. Okay, what is the definition of line? Line means what? Line segment extends endlessly in the both the direction. If a line segment AB is there, and if it is extends endlessly in one direction, it is known as a ray, and it is also extends endlessly in other direction also, then this is known as a line. Thus, line segments extends both sides marked as an two arrow marks. Okay, so how we are going to represent this line? Line AB, two head arrow marks. Here you need to notice the differences. AB line with a two arrow marks, AB line segment with no arrow marks, AB ray with a one head arrow mark. Okay, that you need to understand. This represents a ray. Okay, and this represents a line segment. This represents a line. Okay, a line can be represented by any 2 points through which this line is passing through. Okay, and sometimes if you want to represent this in one symbol notation with the help of small alphabets like a small l, small b, likewise we can represent. Okay, how we are going to represent the line? We can represent the line by two symbol notation by using the 2 points through which this line is passing through. This is one case. And other way is what, in one symbol notation, if you want to represent the line with the help of the small alphabets, we can represent the line. Okay, is it clear? And a line has how many endpoints? A line has no endpoint. It is it is extends endlessly. So there is no end point. It contains infinitely many points on it, and it has a length but no thickness. And line segment is a part of a line. These are the three important concepts about the line. So let us recall that what we have length. Line segment we length about a line segment in front. The shortest part between the 2 points is known as the line segment. If a line segment extends endlessly in the one direction, it's known as an ray. If a line segment extends endlessly in the both sides, it's known as a line. Line segment is a part of the line. Okay, so let us discuss about one more important concept, that is about a plane. Plane means what? A flat surface which extends endlessly in all the directions is called an plane. A plane has a infinite length and breadth but has a no thickness. A flat surface extends endlessly in all the directions. Just imagine a piece of paper, and if we can extend it in all the directions, then that represents a plane. Okay, plane means what? A smooth and flat surface which extends endlessly in all the directions is known as a plane. Okay, and part of plane means what? Okay, once observe this, a surface, the top of the table is a example of the part of a plane. Even a paper sheet is also example of a part of a plane because it is having a boundaries. But a plane has a no boundaries. Okay, we are using the paper to draw the figures. Then it is also a flat surface. Then it is also representation of a plane, but it is not a plane because it has a boundary. Paper has a boundaries, but actually plane means what? Which is extends endlessly in all the directions. Okay, that is about the plane. And next concept about the plane figures. Plane figures means what? The figures which we can draw very easily on paper are known as the plane figures. All the 2D of shape figures are called as the plane figures, like a triangle, rectangles, circles are called as the plane figures. We can draw them in a plane and call them as a plane figures. And cube is not a plane figures because it is very difficult to draw it because cube is as a 3D shape. See, it is having a three dimensions, but these all are having a four dimensions itself. And next, and for most important concept in this entire geometry, that is about the angle. Angle means what? An angle is a union of two different rays are having a same initial point. Whenever two rays are having a same initial point, then that two rays forms an angle. Okay, if you take this two rays like a OA ray and OB ray, if these two rays are having the same initial point, then these two rays forms an angle. Okay, so now how we are going to represent this angle? Okay, if you take this angle whose initial point is O and this ray is A, OA ray and OB ray. So here this angle is formed by the two rays. By which rays this angle is formed? Those rays are called as arms or hands of this angle. Okay, these are called as arms of this angle. And what is the common initial point these two rays are having? The initial point, common initial point is called as an vertex of this angle. Okay, so and how we are going to represent this angle? Means this angle can be represented in the two ways by using three symbols and by using one symbol. If you want to represent this angle in three symbol notation, okay, so what we need to do? We need to write that vertex in the middle. Okay, we should write a vertex in the middle and remaining 2 points on either side like A, B, and this is a symbol which we are using to represent this angle. How you are going to read this one? Angle AOB. Okay, this is one way. And the three symbol notation also, we can write vertex in the middle and remaining 2 points on either side. Likewise, angle BOA or angle AOB, both are same. If you want to represent in one symbol notation, at what point this angle is formed? By vertex, that you can represent. Simply we can say as an angle O. This is about the representation of this angle. Okay, so sometimes very rare case to represent this unknown angle, to represent the unknown angle, we are using a small alphabet also, small x or small y. Likewise also we are representing that. Okay, so this is about a representation of angle. Angles are generally we use three capital letters to represent this angle. Next concept, that is about measuring of angle. Okay, so to find out a magnitude of a given angle, we need a standard unit of that angle, and then we can compare the given angles with a unit angle and say it as a measurements. So what are the measuring units to measure this angle? See, just like a line segment is given to us, to measure the length of that line segment we use that centimeter scale, and we are using that centimeters. Okay, in the same manner, to find out the length of the class, to measure the length of the class, we are using meters as a unit. Okay, so likewise, and to measure this angle also, we are using certain units, that is called as degrees. Degree means what? If you take one complete circle, What is the meaning of degree? Degree means what? If you take one complete circle, if you imagine that, and if you divide that into 360 equal parts, okay, so that one each part is called as 1 degree. Okay, degree means what? 1 by 360th part of a one complete circle is known as an degree. This is only we'll say it as an in another word. If you take one right angle, if you take one right angle, and that if you divided it into 90 equal parts, 90 equal parts. If it is divided into 90 equal parts, then each part is known as an 1 degree. Each part is known as an 1 degree. Is it clear? Degree means what? 1 by 360th part of one complete circle is known as a degree, or else 1 by 90th part of one right angle is also known as a degree, and that degree is divided into further 60 equal parts. Then each part is known as a 1 minute, and that 1 minute is divided into 60 equal parts. Then that each part is known as 1 second. Okay, so what is the definition of degree? Okay, a right angle. Okay, and so that is a right angle is divided into 90 equal parts, then each part is called as an degree, and degree is a unit for measuring the angle, and 1 degree is written as an likewise 1 degree. Okay, 1 degree is divided into 60 equal parts, then each part is called as a 1 minute, and 1 minute is divided into 60 equal parts, each part is called as a 1 second. 1 minute is denoted by 1 degree is divided into 60 equal parts, then each part is called as a 1 minute. So this is a representation of 1 minute, like 1/1 slash mark. Okay, likewise will represent. Okay, so in the same manner, 1 second. Okay, 1 second means what? 1 minute is equals to 60 seconds. 60 seconds. This is a representation of seconds. Based on measurement of these angles, we have classified them into different types. Now it is time to learn about types of angles. Okay, types of angles. So first one is what? Acute angle. An angle whose measures is less than the 90 and greater than the 0 is called as an acute angle. If you take an angle in a equilateral triangle, and we all know that angle in equilateral triangle is a 60 degrees. Okay, so 60 degrees is a best example of acute angle. Likewise, 30 degrees, 40 degrees, and these all are called as an acute angles. Acute angle means what? Uh, the angle whose measures is less than the 90 and more than the 0 degrees is called an acute angle. So, and let us go to the next type of angle, that is about a right angle. Right angle means what? An angle whose measures exactly 90 degrees is called an right angle. Obtuse angle. Obtuse angle means what? An angle whose measure greater than the 90 and less than the 180. Okay, greater than the 90, less than the 180. That means it is from 91 degrees to 179 degrees. All angles whose measures lies between 91 to 179 are known as obtuse angles. Okay, so this is about a obtuse angle. Next one is what? Straight angle. Straight angle represents a 180 degrees. An angle whose measures exactly 180 degrees is called as a straight angle. A straight angle measures 180 degrees. We said na 180 degrees we can divide into two equal halves as a 90 and 90. That's the reason a straight angle is equal to 2 times of the right angles. That is equal to 2 right angles. And reflex angle. Reflex angle means what? An angle measures greater than the 180 degrees and less than the 360 degrees are called as an reflex angle. Okay, you can take an example of reflex angle as an 270 degrees, like a 351 degrees, and 195 degrees. Likewise, these all are examples of reflex angles. And complete angle. Complete angle means what? An angle whose measures exactly 360 degrees is known as a complete angle. Now, next type of angle, that is about zero angle. Zero angle means what? An angle whose measures exactly 0 degrees is known as a zero angle. Okay, and here there is an important note which is related to complete angle. Just now we discussed about complete angle. Complete angle means what? An angle whose measures exactly 360 degrees is said. Na? So 360 degrees we can write it as a 4 into 90. That's the reason we say that 360 degrees is equals to 4 times of a right angle. Okay, that you need to notice. So these are the some important types of angles that we have discussed. So let us revise this all. First one is what? Acute angle. What is the definition of acute angle? An angle whose measures are less than the 90 and greater than the 0 degrees is known as an acute angle. And second one is what? Right angle. Right angle means what? An angle whose measures exactly 90 degrees is known as an right angle. Third one is what? Obtuse angle. An angle whose measures more than the 90 and less than the 180 is known as an obtuse angle. And fourth one, straight angle. An angle whose measures exactly 180 degrees is known as an straight angle. Fifth one is what? Reflection angle. An angle whose measures more than 180 and less than the 360 is known as an reflex angle. And next one is what? Complete angle. Complete angle means what? An angle whose measures exactly 360 degrees is known as an complete angle. And last one is what? Zero angle. Zero angle means what? An angle whose measures exactly 0 degrees is known as a zero angle. These are some important types of the angles. And now it is time to learn about a pair of angles. Pair of angles. In that first pair is what? Adjacent angles. Adjacent angles. Adjacent angles means what? Two angles in a plane are called as an adjacent angle if they have a common vertex and a common side and their interiors do not have a common point. Then only we say them as adjacent angles. And we can also define as like this. Two angles are said to be adjacent if they are having common vertex, common arm, and those non-common arms should be on either side of a common arm. Non-common arms should be on either side of a common arm. Then only we say them as an adjacent angles. If you see this diagram, OA ray, OB ray, and OC ray. Here in this diagram we have three angles. What are those three angles? Once observe is angle AOB and angle BOC and one entire angle AOC. If I compare these two, once observe is these two angles and the angle AOB is formed by the what rays? It is formed by the OA ray and OB ray. Okay, and it is formed by the OB ray and OC ray, and these two angles are having common vertex O. That means these two are having a common vertex and common arm and non-common arm. Okay, OB is a common arm, so non-common arms means what? OA ray and OC ray. They are of the Are they of the same side of this OB or on either side of the OB? They are either side of OB. Then only we say them as an adjacent angles. Okay, and if you compare first angle and third angle, like angle AOB and angle AOC, once observe this, these two angles are having common vertex O, and it is formed by the OA ray and OB ray. It is formed by OA ray, angle AOC formed by the OA ray and OC ray. These two angles are also having this common vertex, common arm OA. But what are the non-common arms OB and OC? For with respect of OA, OB and OC are non-common arms are of the same side of the common arm. So these two are not adjacent angles. Adjacent angle means what? They should have a common vertex and common arm, and non-common arm should be on either side of the common arm. Then only we say them as an adjacent angles. Is it clear? So now let us go with the next concept. Linear pair angles. The pair of adjacent angles whose non-common arms are opposite rays is called as linear pair angles. Linear pair angles forms the 180 degrees. Okay, what is meant by linear pair angles means what? In the two adjacent angles, if the non-common arms forms a straight line, if the non-common arms forms a straight line, then those two adjacent angles called as an linear pair angles. Okay, if you see this angle AOB in this angle AOB and angle BOC, these two are called as an adjacent angles because they are having common vertex and common arm, that is OB, and non-common arms OA ray and OC ray are of the same either side of this common arm, and they are forms a straight line. This non-common arms forms a straight line. Then only we can say them as an linear pair angles. Linear pair angles means what? If the adjacent angles, if the non-common arms of adjacent angles forms a straight line, then only those angles are called as linear pair angles. Then this sum of linear pair angles is equals to 180 degrees. That means angle AOB plus angle BOC is equals to 180 degrees. The sum of the two linear pair angles is equals to 180 degrees. That you need to notice. Okay, this is about the linear pair angles. When two adjacent angles are said by the linear pair angles means if the non-common arms of adjacent angles forms a straight line, then those adjacent angles are called as linear pair angles. Now, what a vertically opposite angle? Vertically opposite angle means what? Okay, so those angles which are having a common vertex and no arm in the common are called as vertically opposite angles. If you notice this in this diagram, we can see this angle AOB. If you take an angle AOB and angle COD, these two angles you can see they are having a common vertex O, and this angle AOB formed by the two rays that are OA ray and OB ray, and angle COD formed by the OC ray and OD ray. That means these two angles are having common vertex but no arm in common. Then only we can say these two angles are called as vertically opposite angles. If the two angles are having a common vertex and no common arms, then those two angles are called as vertically opposite angles. So we can say angle A, small a and small c are known as the vertically opposite angle. In the same manner, angle B and angle D is also vertically opposite angles. And one more important concept about vertically opposite angles: these vertically opposite angles are always equal in measures. Okay, they are always equal in measures. This is the concept that you need to notice. Okay, so vertically opposite angles means what? The angles which are having common vertex and no arm in the common is known as vertically opposite angles. Next concept, that is about supplementary angles. If the sum of two angles is 180 degrees, then those pair of angles are called as supplementary angles. If you take a sum of any two angles is 180 degrees, then those two angles are called as supplementary angles. Okay, so that means what? If you take 60 degrees is that, what should be added to 60 to get a 180? That is 120. That is 120. Na? So 60 and 120 degrees are called as supplementary angles. And here you need to notice that two supplementary angles are in the form of x and 180 minus x degrees and 180 minus x. So most of the times in the competitive exams, they will give the questions from the supplementary angles. In such cases, to solve our problem very easily, we need to assume those angles are in the form of x degrees and 180 minus x degrees, or else we can remember that supplementary angles are in the form of x degrees and 180 minus x degrees, that you need to remember. And next concept, that is about a complementary angle. Complementary angles means what? If the sum of the measures of the two angles is equals to 180 degrees, if the sum of the measures of two angles is equals to 90 degrees, then those two angles are called as complementary angles. This measure of this complementary angles, okay, are the one of that is 60 degrees is that. At 60 degrees, what should be added to get 90? That is 30. So 60 degrees and 30 degrees are then complementary angles to each other. In the same manner, if you take that 20 degrees is that, what is the complementary angle of 20 degrees? In order to find out the complementary angles of 20 degrees, we should subtract this 20 degrees from the 90, that is 70 degrees. That will be, that's the reason two complementary angles are in the ratio of x in the form of x degrees and 90 minus x degrees, that will take. So most of the questions are appeared on the these two bases: supplementary angles and complementary angles. Is it clear? So supplementary angles means what? If the sum of two angles is 180 degrees, then those two angles are called as supplementary angles. Supplementary angles are in the form of x degrees and 180 minus x degrees. Complementary angles means what? If the sum of two angles is 90 degrees, then those two angles are known as complementary angles. Complementary angles are in the form of x degrees and 90 minus x degrees. Here, to avoid the confusion, I'm going to give a shortcut which I will use in classroom. That is in the complementary angles. To remember that complementary angles, what are the first two letters in the complementary angles? CO. So just make it as a like this, CO. That is 90 degrees, so that becomes. So that means if the sum of two angles is 90 degrees, then those two angles are known as complementary angles. If the complementary angles, if you remember as a 90, supplementary becomes a 180 degrees. Next concept about a perpendicularity. If the measure of angle between the two lines is 90 degrees, then that two lines are said to be then perpendicular to each other. The relation is perpendicular to is denoted by the symbol. What is the symbol that we are using? This is the symbol which we are using. This, okay, and AB is perpendicular to CD. We read it as an line AB is perpendicular to CD. So this is the diagram of the perpendicular. Okay, if you take this line AB and CD, the angle between these two lines is an 90 degrees. So these two lines are set as perpendicular. So this is a symbol for perpendicularity. We represent these lines as perpendicular like this. Okay, we read them as an AB is perpendicular to CD. That will represent. Okay, is that clear? Now let us go to the next concept. That is about collinear points. Okay, so firstly, you should know about a collinear point. Collinear points means what? The points said to be the collinear if they lie on the same line. If you take this a line, on this line, 3 points I have taken A, B, C. These 3 points lies on the same line. That's the reason these 3 points A, B, C are said to be the collinear points and non-collinear points. The points which are not lying on the same line are called as non-collinear points. Prove three points A, B, C are collinear. We are going to make use of this concept, that is AB plus BC. AB plus BC is equals to AC. You can see that sum of the lengths of AB and BC is equals to AC. Okay, this is about a condition. Okay, and if the 2 points in the plane are always can be draw the if there are 2 points in the plane, always we can draw a line passing through them. Okay. If there are 3 points in the plane, we may or may not be able to draw the line passing through them. If we draw a line, then those points are called as collinear. If we cannot draw a line, then those points are called as non-collinear. That is about the collinear points. Next concept about intersecting lines. Intersecting lines means what? If the two lines are having a common point, then they are set with an intersecting points. You should see this line. Two lines are given here, line AB and CD lines. Okay, these two lines are having common point. So then we say them AB and OCD are called as an intersecting lines. These are called as an intersecting lines. If lines are having 1 point in common, then those 2 points are called as collinear are called as intersecting lines. They are called as intersecting lines. Okay. Nice. Concurrent lines. Concurrent lines means what? If three or more lines are having the same common point, then those lines are called as concurrent lines. Okay. So let us see this example. You can see that 3 lines are there. AB line, okay, and CD line and DE line. These all lines are having a 1 point in common. 3 lines are having a 1 point in common. In such cases, these 3 lines are said to present concurrent lines. Okay, is it clear? Next concept about the parallel lines. Two lines L and M are said to be the parallel if they lie on the same plane and do not have a common point. Then are said to be the parallel lines. Okay, if you take a line L and M is parallel, we can represent the, okay, see this, these two lines are having a no point in common. Then these are said to be the parallel lines. And if you imagine this is a line small a and this is a line small b is there. Okay. These two lines are also having no point in common. Can I say these two lines are parallel? Means no, because line means what? It extends endlessly in all the direction. But if I extend this line A and line B, they may meet at some point of the time. So then we cannot say these two lines are parallel. That means what? So in order to say two lines are parallel, they should not having common point and the distance between these parallel lines must be same. The distance between the parallel lines remains the same everywhere. Then only we can say those two lines are parallel. But here the distance between these lines is decreasing here. So decreasing means what? They may meet. So they may become intersecting lines. That you need to notice. Okay, sometimes by seeing that they don't have any common points, it is not sufficient to say as they are parallel. You should check that whether the distance between the two lines is remains the same or not. Next one is what? Coincidental lines. Two lines have a infinitely common points are called as coincidental lines. One of that's this line AB line and CD line. These two lines are having infinitely many points in the common. That's the reason these two lines are said with the coincidental lines. Then angle between the parallel lines. So as they don't have any common point, then there is no question of making of angle between those two parallel lines. That's the reason angle between the parallel lines is remains 0, and the distance between the parallel lines. Okay, so any two parallel, so the distance between the two parallel lines remains same everywhere. That's the reason we say that distance between the parallel lines is a constant. Okay, so this is about a parallel lines. Next and for most important concept, that is about a transversal. Transversal means what? Okay, a straight line which intersect two or more than the two given lines in the distinct points is called the transversal. If you take this line segment, if you take this line P and line Q, okay, so this is line Q, this is line P, and line R is intersects this P and Q at two distinct points as A and B. So then this R is said to be the transversal. In the same manner, here line L, okay, line M, okay, but a line N divides or intersects these two lines at two distinct points, two different points. That's the reason this line is said to be the transversal. Transversal plays very important role in entire geometry. When a transversal intersects the two lines, it forms a different types of angles. Regarding that concept, we will discuss in the coming video.